Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to cover mass to mole conversions. I'm going to give you a quick three-step approach that'll give you hopefully some success and give you some confidence in working out your chemistry problems. So let's get started here. For the three steps, the first step is our traditional, let's figure out what's going on. We're going to determine the unit given and the unit needed. I don't know if you want to call it start or end, that works too. Whatever makes it happen for you or helps you, that works fine. This is going to help us ID our equation to use. Once we do that, we're going to move to step 2. We're going to calculate the molar mass of the given compound. Our step 3, my favorite step, I call it plug and chug, because we're going to plug in all the appropriate data into the right spots, and the calculator is going to chug out an answer, and we're going to let it do all the work. So that's the fun part about it. All we got to do is watch our units and significant figures. So let's go ahead and get started with a typical problem. Here's a typical wording. How many moles in 16.0 grams of sulfur dioxide? So instead of panicking, we're just going to follow our 3 steps and see what happens. Our step 1, remember, we want to figure out what's going on. What is our unit given? And we also want to figure out what is the unit that is needed. Okay, it's basically start and end. Where are we starting and where are we heading? Where do we want to end? Okay, in this case, we're going to decipher what's written here. It says how many moles, and at that point I stop because I say it's already telling me something. They want to know moles. So that's the unit needed. I continue to read 16.0 grams of sulfur dioxide. 16.0 grams is the information they're giving us, and grams is a mass type value. So now we ID this as a mass to mole equation. That's the kind of equation we're going to use to solve the problem. The specific given is 16.0 grams, and I am going to go ahead and highlight that because we're going to need that information a little later. All right, step 2. We want to calculate the molar mass of sulfur dioxide. So calculate molar mass of SO2. To do this, we're going to need a periodic table, so we're going to switch to the periodic table here. And as we look at sulfur, we see it there, 32.059. All our periodic table values are rounded to the nearest tenth, so we're going to make that to 32.1. There's only one sulfur, so that's why it's 1 times 32.1. We have 2 oxygens, so we just got to figure out what the value of oxygen is. We look over here, most of you already know, 15.99, which rounds to 16.0. I do this math, 32.1 plus 32.0, and I get a number of 64.1 grams. And I am going to highlight this yellow because, again, we're going to use it later. You're going to find that every time that you do a problem, the more background information you get, the easier the ending becomes. And here it is, plug and chug, my favorite piece. Because this is a mass to mole equation, which you identified over here, we already know that that equation is the given mass in grams times 1 mole over the molar mass in grams, and that's going to give us our answer. I'm going to color code this, and I think you're going to start to see the plug and chug technique here, that we're going to drop in the values where the color coding goes. So in this case, the given mass is 16.0 grams, and that's going to be multiplied times 1 mole over the molar mass in grams, which we know to be now 64.1. I notice the units cancel. Grams cancels grams, and our leftover, let me scooch that up for you guys, is going to be mole. And if you look up here, you're going to notice that the mole that they're asking, or the unit they're asking for, is the mole. And the way it cancels and it ends up in mole, to me it's telling me that we're probably doing a good job. My final thing is, again, we're going to let the calculator do the work. 16 times 1 mole over 64.1, so I'm going to punch in 16.0, and that times 1 over 64 really means divided by 64.1. And when I hit equals, I get this long number. I'll write it down. It may not fit there. 0.249609844. Okay, but we're going to cut that number down based on significant figures so we can reflect appropriate accuracy here. This has 3 sig figs. This has 3 sig figs. That means I can only use 3 sig figs here. The 6 tells me to round that 9 up, and my final answer, 0.250 mole, is perfect in significant figures. It's the right units and has properly told you how much 16.0 grams of sulfur dioxide is. It's exactly 1/4 mole, 0.250 moles. All right, great job, guys. We'll go ahead and move on to the next problem.